Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time in this channel, remember we talk all things engineering, technology, and finance. So welcome to a new series that we decided to come up with. And the new series is called Engineer's Corner. In Engineer's Corner, we take a look at all different types of topics to learn about different things. It is my belief that if you are just learning on one particular subject, you're really going to hinder yourself and not be successful. It is my belief that you should learn many different ideas, and the more ideas you learn, you can then apply those ideas and become even more successful. In this first episode, we're going to talk about the top 3 lessons that I've learned in obtaining my degrees. So for those of you who don't know me, I have 3 degrees in total, 1 bachelor's and 2 master's, all within the field of engineering. There is a lot of valuable lessons learned throughout the pursuit of those degrees. Before going into the top 3 lessons learned while obtaining my degrees, there's a couple things that I need from you. I need you to hit the like button below. Also as well, don't forget to subscribe and share this content so a lot of people can also learn about the top 3 lessons learned. Lastly, since I consider you guys as part of my family, I want to wish you guys a happy New Year's. I hope this year is filled with lots of lessons learned, lots of love, lots of happiness, lots of growth, also as well, lots of success, because this channel is all about investing into your success. So jumping right into the top 3 lessons learned, let's take a look. So jumping into lesson number 1, college degrees do not make you successful. Now I know this sounds kind of weird, college degrees don't make you successful, when in reality, that's probably what you've been told all your life. I always thought when you were going to college that the fact that you got the degree means you're smart, it means somebody will pay you for being smart. I don't know why I thought that ridiculous idea, but that's what was going through my mind when I was going and getting my degrees. When in reality, it's the information that you have in your head and you're able to apply it to a real world problem and produce a result is what makes you successful. The fact that you're able to obtain knowledge and regurgitate that information to somebody else doesn't make you successful at all. So one of the common mistakes that I see a lot is people will go to school constantly and they'll learn and learn and learn and learn, and they're in this perpetual cycle of learning and they never apply the information that they learn to create a product, help solve a problem, or anything along those lines to then translate that into either resources and then use those resources to then become even more successful later on. Let's take a look at a quick example. So let's say I just went to school for electrical engineering and I learned about Ohm's law. And we all know Ohm's law, and if you don't know Ohm's law is V is equal to I times R, or voltage is equal to current times resistance. So that information in itself, by me regurgitating it to you, does absolutely nothing besides sharing knowledge with you. Now, translate that into a real world application. What if I use that formula to create a circuit in which that circuit is within a circuit card, and that circuit card does a particular function? Let's say, for example, it turns the lights on and off in my house. Well, then now I create a product around that switch or that circuit, and then we introduce that into the marketplace. And now people can turn the lights on and off in their homes safely by using that Ohm's law equation to figure out what is the proper voltage, resistance, and current that needs to go through that circuit to make sure that the light turns on and off safely. And that's a good application of taking a piece of knowledge and applying it to something and then becoming successful by using it in a product and being able to help solve a real world problem. Jumping into lesson number 2. One of the things that I was able to learn is not all degrees are created equal. And especially in the field of engineering, we have something that's called the ABET or ABET accreditation. So if you don't know what the ABET accreditation is, let's go ahead and take a look and see what that looks like and why I say not all degrees are created equal. Previously, I mentioned that when going into an engineering program, you want to make sure that you're looking for an ABET accreditation. So if you're wondering what that is, here is the website for ABET, so abet.org. And this website tells us all about what this accreditation is. Let's jump into what ABET accreditation is. As shown on the website, ABET is an organization that has a review process to determine if the educational program meets defined standard of quality. Once this institution achieves that accreditation, it is not permanent. It has to be renewed periodically to ensure that the quality of the educational program is maintained. Now you may be wondering, why is this accreditation important? As shown, ABET accreditation assures confidence that the collegiate program has met standard essentials to preparing graduates to enter their critical STEM fields in the global workforce. In a nutshell, this accreditation ensures that graduates are getting a solid educational foundation in the specific engineering program that they are about to enter. Graduates from an ABET accredited school have the solid foundation and are capable of leading the way in innovation, emerging technologies, and anticipate the welfare and safety needs of the public. Now that we know what ABET organization is and what the accreditation is used for and why it's important, let's apply that to the education program and see why I say not all degrees are equal. For the purpose of this conversation, we are going to assume that we have a high school student who is interested in entering the field of engineering, specifically computer engineering, and they are in the state of Rhode Island and they are looking into different schools. And so we're going to help them see why this accreditation is important and why not all degrees are the same. After some searches and applying, the high school graduate runs into two different schools. One school is Johnson & Wales University, and as you can see here, Johnson & Wales University has a computer engineering program, a bachelor's in computer engineering program, and the high school student is also interested in computer engineering at the University of Rhode Island. So as you can see here, the University of Rhode Island and Johnson & Wales University both offer an undergraduate in computer engineering. Now, more importantly, let's take a look at the differences in the cost of tuition between the two different schools. And we'll start off with Johnson & Wales University. As you can see here, the annual tuition for Johnson & Wales is $35,750. For the purposes of this conversation, we're going to assume that the student is not going to take into account any fees, any room and board, or meal plans. We're strictly just dealing with tuition. Also note that Johnson & Wales does not list on their website whether this is in-state tuition or out-of-state tuition. So for the purposes of this conversation, we're going to assume that this annual tuition of $35,750 covers both in-state and out-of-state tuition. So now that we have the tuition for Johnson & Wales University, let's take a look at what the tuition looks like for the University of Rhode Island. So the University of Rhode Island does list out out-of-state tuition and also in-state tuition. And since we mentioned earlier, we have a high school student who is in Rhode Island, he or she is going to get the Rhode Island resident tuition. The Rhode Island resident tuition is $15,880. Let's do a little bit of math to see the differences in the 2 degrees. For the purposes of this conversation, again, we're going to make sure that we are only going to factor in tuition. So all fees, room and board, or meal plans will not be considered. And we're going to assume that there's not going to be any increases in tuition. We're just going to make sure that tuition stays the same for the next 4 years. And we're going to calculate to see what the differences are. URI, or University of Rhode Island, is $15,880 per year, and it's a 4-year program. So this program is going to cost us a total of $63,520. Now that we know what the tuition costs are for the University of Rhode Island, let's take a look at what the tuition cost for Johnson & Wales is going to be. So Johnson & Wales is $35,750 per year. So we have a total of $35,750, and it's going to take us 4 years in order to complete the degree. So we have $143,000 as the total that we're going to spend for the Johnson & Wales degree. Let's take a look at what the difference that you're gonna pay between the two. If we were to subtract 143,000 from the 63,520, you'll see here that you're gonna pay a total of $79,480 to go to Johnson & Wales versus the University of Rhode Island for the same degree in computer engineering. Now here's the big difference, and let's see why this is important. On this part of the ABET accreditation website, we can search for programs to see if the programs are accredited. Let's go ahead and search each school and see what we get. Immediately we get a hit back for the University of Rhode Island, and we see here that the University of Rhode Island is accredited in many different engineering programs. Our high school student who's interested in studying computer engineering at the University of Rhode Island can be sure that the program is accredited and it meets all the standards for engineering. Let's see if we get the same results for Johnson & Wales University. As you can see here, Johnson & Wales University is not an accredited program. Therefore, there is no guarantee that what you're going to learn at Johnson & Wales University meets the standard of the ABET accredited program that you see in many universities that offer engineering programs. Now the question is Johnson & Wales University worth $79,480 more than the University of Rhode Island, even though their engineering program, their computer engineering program, is not accredited at all? This is what I mean by not all degrees are equal. Now jumping into the third lesson that I learned in obtaining my degrees in engineering. Not all degrees cost the same. As we mentioned previously, not all degrees cost the same. On the left, you will see the computer engineering curriculum for University of Rhode Island. On the right, you will see the computer engineering curriculum for Johnson & Wales University. Let's go over a couple examples to see how similar these degrees are from different offerings and compare that to the prices that we calculated earlier. In your freshman year, you're going to take Calculus 1 and Foundations of Engineering. Let's see if we find the same courses over at Johnson & Wales. Here you have Calculus 1, and here you have Introduction to Engineering. Let's take a look at some other examples. During the spring semester of your freshman year at University of Rhode Island, you'll also take Calculus 2, some physics courses, and Foundations of Engineering 2. Let's see if we do the same over at Johnson & Wales University. Here we have Calculus 2, here we have some physics courses, and here we have Physics 1 courses as well. So Physics 1 and 2 are both there. Looking at the spring semester, you have computer programming, linear circuit theory, and calculus courses for University of Rhode Island. Let's see if Johnson & Wales has the same thing. Here you have computer programming, here you have linear circuit theory and labs, and of course we just saw calculus courses as well. Now let's look at junior year. You see here some data structures, linear algebra, electronics, linear systems. Let's see how that compares with Johnson & Wales. Here you have your data structure, here you have your linear algebra, and as you can see, very, very similar courses. Junior year spring semester for your University of Rhode Island, you have digital design with FPGAs, computer architecture. So let's take a look. Digital design with FPGA is digital logic design. So you have the same course there. And computer architecture you have over here, computer architecture 1. And then a bunch of other courses that you can see here, embedded design, that you will also find in Johnson & Wales as well. And here, Johnson & Wales, you see the embedded design. As we saw in our previous example with the tuition rates between both different universities, we saw that Johnson & Wales was going to cost us $143,000 for a 4-year program, and the University of Rhode Island was going to cost us $63,520. And there's a big difference of $79,480. That difference of $79,480 will cost you more to attend Johnson & Wales University versus going to the University of Rhode Island, which has, if not more courses on computer engineering than Johnson & Wales, and their program is accredited versus Johnson & Wales, which is not. So you can see why not all degrees cost the same. So those were my top 3 lessons learned in pursuing my degrees. Again, to reiterate, number 1, not all college degrees make you successful. Number 2, not all college degrees are created equal. And number 3, not all college degrees cost the same. You have to be very strategic in how you pick your major, and also as well how you pick the cost associated with obtaining these degrees. If you found this video to be extremely helpful, go ahead and hit the like button below. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and share the content. I can't tell you how many people will benefit from this information, so make sure you share it with your family and friends. And as always, I want to wish my family, which is you guys, a happy and healthy 2022. We'll see you on the next video.